Gerstner is kind of doing a triangulation here between Scottish common sense realism, McCosh, and evolution. I've not read the dissertation, so I'm not familiar with Gerstner's thesis exactly in there, but that's an interesting um, kind of triangulation, especially if you think about Old Princeton's interaction with evolutionism, and sort of its kind of I mean, it rejected a Darwinian atheistic, even deistic type of approach to evolution. But some have kind of, said Old Princeton, maybe because of its common sense realism, opened the door to a theistic type of evolution. So I'm just wondering, how did Gershner kind of deal with those issues, and how did he end up coming down on the relationship between common sense realism, Darwinianism, evolutionism, and McCosh?
Well, from the dissertation itself, I I get I think Gerstner really did not think that. I mean, he obviously rejected the naturalism of Darwin, and would not agree with that. But I think McCosh didn't you know didn't see some of this stuff as problematic as other scholars did. He just thought in terms of that all this was question begging, in terms of what's the source of all this evolution that Darwin's talking about. There has to be something behind it. It can't and so McCosh reasoned that it was God behind this. And so I think that there's lots of debate about all of this, obviously, amongst Christian scholars and theologians and philosophers. But it didn't. McCosh didn't think that it was as much of a threat as other fundamentalists did. And so Gerstner, he wrote on it in his dissertation. He does not talk a lot about science in other in his later writings. Um, but I think a good book on this would be the Gunlack book on process and providence, the evolution question at Princeton. Um, I think the real concern that John Gerstner and McCosh and Machen and Warfield had, with evolution is the kind of the naturalistic philosophy behind it.
Right,
So,
right. Do you think Gershner was sympathetic with a certain form, maybe a Princetonian form of theistic evolution?
well, that's maybe at some level, but that's there's lots of debates now about can Warfield even be regarded as a theistic evolutionist? Oftentimes he is, but like Fred Zaspel has been making arguments contrary to that. Other scholars like David Livingston at Queen's University Belfast, and Mark Knoll are argue that Warfield was more of a theistic evolutionist with exceptions and caveats. Um, but I don't think the Darwin part of it or the evolution part that really doesn't factor too much into to Gerstner's later career or his writings. But he did deal with it in the dissertation.